there. Welcome to biology class. My name is Tamia Bright, and today we'll be talking about kingdom fungi. Kingdom fungi. Plural fungi, singular fungus. This is a typical example of a fungus or a fungi. It's a mushroom. There are different forms of mushroom, but this is one type. I found it growing on a log, wood, dead wood. There is another nice one here, little fine fungi. So this is a fungi, or a fungus rather. Other examples are yeast, bread molds, they grow on bread, on rotten food. So typically you find them growing on dead, decaying parts of plants or animals. That's generally how you see fungi growing. So this kingdom fungi, how do they make their own food? They don't have chlorophyll. Although generally people see mushrooms and they look like plants, but they actually behave more like animals than plants because of how they take in nutrition. They are saprophytes. They don't have chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a pigment that traps sunlight and uses it to convert carbon dioxide and water to energy. They can't do that. They don't have chlorophyll. So they digest the dead part of plants and animals and absorb them in. That makes them saprophytes or decomposers, because this process brings about decay or decomposition. So they are decomposers or saprophytes. Well, not all fungus or fungi are saprophytic. Some of them actually live on living things and can cause harm. When they behave this way, they are called parasites. They are parasitic. So generally, what do they look like in terms of the structure? I would represent a yeast on microscopic level, of course. So with the naked eye, we can't see it, but this is what a yeast cell is. A yeast is unicellular. Most other fungi are multicellular, but yeast is unicellular. It's somewhat like this. This is a nucleus, and then food particles. It has a cell wall. The cell wall is made up of chitin, a nitrogenous material. Some fungi have cellulose, just like in plants, making up the cell wall. This one is made up of chitin. This is a cytoplasm, and then this is a nucleus. It means it is a eukaryotic cell. These are food particles. It's not all fungi that have cell wall. The slime molds don't have cell wall, so they are animal-like, more animal-like than not. So that's the general structure of a yeast. Not all of them are like this, of course. The molds, bread mold, for example, the bread mold, the blackish stuff that grows on bread, the scientific name is uh, Rhizopus nigricans. Grows on bread. Typically, the structure is made up of thread-like structures. Thread-like structures. On the surface, you see that growth, but inside the bread, you have this crisscrossing of fine thread-like structures. Those structures are called hyphae. Hyphae for plural, hypha for singular. So this is what it looks like. Thread growing up, then something like roots, branching in like roots. And then these structures can also run vertically to form another point where you have outgrowths like that. So you have these crisscrossings all over within the bread or the substrate. Here you have a part that bears spores. So let's assume that this one was already mature and then the spores were released. This vertically running hypha is called a stolon. This one that runs up to bear the spores is called sporangiophore. This one that carries the spore itself is called sporangium, and these are the spores. This whole mass put together, oh, very importantly, the parts that run like roots are called rhizoids. They are root-like, but you can't really call them roots. And please don't call this one stems. So even though they give you that idea like roots and stems, they are not, right? So they are called rhizoid, stolon, sporangiophore. This whole mass put together is called mycelium. Mycelia for plural, mycelium for singular. So typically this is what the structure of a fungus looks like. The bread mold, the Rhizopus nigricans, that is what it looks like. Their reproduction is asexual. So what happens is that they form spores, and when these spores mature, they are released into the air. They float around in the air. They land on suitable places, food, and when they land on food or other dead organic materials, they germinate and grow. So that is how they reproduce. Some of them reproduce, like the yeast will reproduce by forming buds, little buds, outgrowths, then separates. That's how the yeast cell reproduces. So that's their form of reproduction. They have yeast and fungi generally are of great economic importance. One, they cause harm. They can cause diseases. Another important thing about them is that they are decomposers. So they help to decay organic materials. They help in biodegradation of organic materials. They are also very important in beer brewing, in wine making. The bakers use them as a raising agent. They are also used to make antibiotics, some types of antibiotics. And of course, not this kind, but we eat mushrooms, so they are very tasty. So these are some of the usefulness of or the importance of fungus. So thanks for fungi. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. See you in the next class.